So in our society, I think what we really want, and we're guilty of this too, is, we want to get what we want when we want it, which is now or yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to kind of see past those moments of where you can't afford to eat or you can't afford to pay your rent. And having faith in yourself and betting on yourself is super important. So. Hey everyone, it's Allie and Zach Fiegel with Realty Executives Cooper Spransey.
Welcome back to Reality from A to Z, where we give you the inside scoop on our lives and the reality that comes with it.
So in our last episode, we talked about failure and how we have learned or had to learn how to fail forward. So we're getting a little bit more specific. This is part 2 of our 4-part series. We're talking about failure in our finances. So it's been on my heart to share this story with people. I don't know why, but we're gonna go with it.
Let's kind of set the stage on our life here and how we got started, a little background, and then we can give some of our world famous financial advice.
Okay, so we're gonna get real and vulnerable for you. So when we first started, we did not have this nest egg that you're supposed to have when you start your own business because, we'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Right. We're going to have success. Everyone says that we're going to be great. So it's going to be fine.
Yes.
Just to give you some examples, for a while, Zach used to make fun of me when we first started dating because I would only buy one roll of toilet paper or one roll of paper towel and be like, what are you doing? Why don't you just buy more? And then I'd explain to him, I can only afford, one roll at a time because I'm scrounging change from, the couch and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, those are funny times.
And also, I literally ate, there's these 69-cent cheese and peanut butter crackers that you can find at the gas station. And I ate those for almost every meal because that's all that I could afford. And, they've got the peanut butter, so it's got
peanut butter. It's good.
Yep, carbs and protein. Yeah, so that's what I survived on. And at one point, I had negative $265 in my bank account. All of my credit cards were maxed out, and I got declined for a personal loan at a bank with my friend and cried in the bank. So it was extremely stressful.
And it was funny at the time when we first started dating. I was like, oh, I think she's just after me for my money. I can buy 8 rolls of toilet paper at a time.
So in our society, I think what we really want, and we're guilty of this too, is, we want to get what we want when we want it, which is now or yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to kind of see past those moments of where you can't afford to eat or you can't afford to pay your rent. And having faith in yourself and betting on yourself is super important.
The wise person once told me, believe in what's coming, not in what's there. Do you hear that, Leslie? Okay, without further ado, here are our 3 tips that we did, at least, that's not great financial advice.
Hopefully Dave Ramsey is not watching.
He wouldn't approve, I don't think.
Or any financial advisors. Sorry.
Yeah, this is not financial advice. That's a disclaimer. Don't take us to court. We didn't tell you this.
From our personal experience, here are 3 things that we did to help us get through.
All right, Al, so tip number 1 is don't look at your bank account. Now this tip is something that I came up with as someone who used to look at their bank account often. And when I've told people this tip, they've just kind of stared at me blankly and they're like, that's dumb. But here's the case. I think that looking at your bank account, looking at my bank account caused a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear around it. And then when I came to the realization that it's only a number, although I guess it's the number that allows you to do things, but whatever, we don't have to
Whatever.
Not important. And you just kind of let it go and believe in what you're doing and trust the process. You realize that there's more to it than just the money and that the money's gonna come. And so there's no sense in taking that time and energy out of my day to look at that and to get upset and to get anxious.
Okay, tip number 2 is, again, terrible, but calm down about your credit card debt.
Yep.
So for me, I survived my first year all on credit cards. So every expense was on a credit card, every bill was on a credit card. I even figured out how to transfer money into my bank account from my credit card so I'd pay my rent that way.
Really?
Yeah. There was like a lot of high fees, but it's what I had to do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
So, and I met with a friend of mine who is a financial advisor, and he kind of, started his own business too. And he said, don't worry about it. It's, 10 years down the road, you're gonna forget about all this credit card debt because it's gonna be paid off by then. So as long as you have a plan, I think that was like great advice because everything's gonna be okay.
Our third tip is have a plan and stick to it.
Mostly.
So this comes down to a few things. So number one is like having a budget. So we have made a budget and have stuck to it very little. But in the business perspective, it's have a clear plan as far as what we're doing in our business, right? So we're not getting the shiny object syndrome of spending money on things that we don't need. And this is something that I've messed up on is, you start putting in money into things that are not, it's not in your plan and you don't really know if it's going to pan out, and then it doesn't. But if you have a clear and consistent plan and you have a budget for those items, then you can kind of stick to that and not lose as much money, hopefully, as what you would have otherwise, and then hopefully see a return eventually.
So there you have it. Some absolutely terrible financial advice.
Not good.
And no matter what you're doing, if you're starting a business or climbing up the corporate ladder or doing a side hustle, whatever, the struggle is going to be real. And I think it's important to be realistic about that and have faith and bet on yourself that you're going to push through. Thanks for tuning in to another awesome episode of Reality from A to Z. From the Fiegels at Realty Executives, Cooper Spransey.
Make it a great day.